Hello and welcome back to another tier list for Brigitte today, judging synergy based off of each character here and how they kind of work together. Last video we did was Lucio, and that was a much longer video just because of how that character works on a very much macro level with the game. Brig shouldn't take as long, but I don't really have any other things to talk about here other than we're still working on audio to make it a little bit easier to hear. And yeah, just let me know in the comments how that's all going, and let's get right into it. We're going to start it all off with Ana. Nowadays, Ana Brig is actually really strong. It's pretty much a staple. But I'm not quite sure if I want to put it S tier or A tier. I think I'm going to actually put it A tier. Only because I think that Brigitte works with other characters just a little bit better. I might move on. I think she's high A tier, low S tier. Mostly because Brigitte really defends Ana when Ana isn't a character that is good at defending herself. She doesn't have any mobility, so the utility that Brig provides to keep her alive is very nice because she can be more aggressive with her nades and her sleep darts. But yeah, that moves us on next to Ashe, which has very little synergy to Brigitte here. I almost want to put it at maybe a C tier, just because if Ashe gets dove, Brig can bash away, so there's at least some form of synergy between the two characters, but besides that, it's not very strong. I'm probably going to put it at like a bottom C tier. It's just not very great, but there are other characters that probably do worse with a Brig, and we'll dive into that a little bit later. Baptiste, I want to put S tier just because of how strong it's been in the past, but it's kind of the same boat as Ana, just a little bit less synergy, but it's a little more practical. It's only practical though because Bap is so powerful as he is right now. Thing is with Baptiste, he has a good vertical mobility and can kind of fend people off for himself. That Lucio is almost better because he needs that horizontal mobility to really make him extremely strong. That being said, though, Bap Brig is still good so that Bap doesn't have to have his lamp forced out every single time that he is being played into a dive. But yeah, I think that's all I'm really going to say about Baptiste. If you have any questions, please let me know. But let's move on to Bastion. Bastion, I'm just going to put D tier. Here's the thing. Bastion is not going to have time to move if Brig stuns something, and the packs aren't really going to be enough. Bastion wants to stay still. Sure, Brig could be decent, but we've gone over the other supports like Baptiste and Zen. You can refer to those. They are much better for Bastion. Baptiste, Zen, and Mercy are much better for Bastion than a Brig would be, and I feel like that's pretty self-explanatory. And so yeah, let's move on to the next one. Doomfist. I think Doomfist is a solid B tier, if not a low A tier. The packs allow for Doomfist to really do whatever. I actually might put him top. I might put him above Baptiste, below Ana. Because here's the thing, the packing of a Doomfist in is very strong. Besides that, though, I think that Brig can work better with other DPS, almost that I'm going to put it at a kind of a low A tier, high B tier character. I think it's better than most, for sure, but it's not like this is definitely the character you should be picking in yada yada situation. I think it's a good thing. I think that's enough to note, though, for Doomfist, and we're just going to keep it at that. Diva next. See, here's the thing with Diva. While Diva and Brig don't necessarily synergize together, I still think it's very practical because it can allow the Diva to be more aggressive. So much so that I'm probably going to put this at top C tier. I don't know if I'm going to put it low B tier. I might if B tier is a little it's a little scarce of characters, because that might just be how it is as we move on here. But I think that Diva is very strong with Brig, because now that then Diva doesn't have to worry about the Zen or an Ana or a Bap. She can just do really whatever she wants. That being said, let's move on to Echo here. I think Echo is kind of on the same lines as Doom, maybe a little bit better. I'm going to say it's a little bit better than Doomfist. I'm actually going to move these two down because I know I'm probably going to get a lot of hate if I put these characters too high up, because to be honest, the pack is the real synergy here between these characters. The bash isn't super great, but the thing is like being able to pack a flanker as they are doing their own thing is synergy. Synergy enough to make it at least A tier. Anything in dive really, any dive DPS characters generally do very well with the Brig, and you're going to see that as we keep going on here and we get to Tracer and other characters. But next up we have Genji. It's kind of the same idea. I'm going to put Genji a little bit lower just because Genji does better with other supports, I think, because he needs a little bit more out of what he's playing with. But I think Genji low A tier is very respectable, to say the least. That leads us to Hanzo. I think Hanzo's going to loom right next to Bastion, because I don't really see a lot of characters that are going to do poorly with Brig. I just think that Hanzo, you could maybe warrant to put Hanzo up actually like low C tier. I'm going to keep him in D tier for now. I might move him around. It's just that the Hanzo, sure, you could get a Brig bash, but it's probably better to just run a Mercy with the Hanzo. And we'll be doing Mercy next week, so if you have any questions about that, we'll be answering those next week with next week's tier list. But I'm thinking I'm going to keep Hanzo there for now. But Junkrat, again, one of those other ones. It's not bad by any means. It's just that these characters generally want to spam and want to play back. Those characters and comps don't usually fit with what Brig's all about. And that's pretty much the point that I'm making here. I think Brig Lucio was a little bit better than the Ashe. I mean, Brig Lucio has had its metas in the past where you wanted to be extremely aggressive, but it was a very niche comp, and you had to be a very good team to run that. Besides that, I think that Brig is meant more nowadays for keeping her backline alive, more so than being a menace in the front line. I just think that this synergy isn't as practical, but it's still there if you want to proc inspire, if you want to get a little weird with it. It's still doable, it's just not preferred by any means. Now, Mccree would generally be lower on the list because he doesn't really need the peel from Brig, you would think. But the thing is he doesn't have really a lot of mobility, and he's a very diveable character because once his stun is out, he is dead, effectively. And if your whole team dives Mccree, well, he's going to die. That being said, it's nice to have a Brig along with Mccree so that you have more stun potential, and more stuns the better. It's just all around a very average synergy that's nice. It's nothing crazy, nothing awful. It's just nice to have. Mei's kind of up there as well. I'm going to kind of put it below Diva. I think it's solid because the stun is nice if you want to freeze a target, maybe. It can be the extra little second that you need for the freeze to go off. Besides that, Mei kind of has it going for her. And I don't think the synergy is that great, but it's not like it's a turnoff. Mccree on a Brig was a thing like a year and a half ago before Echo was out. When hero bans were a thing. It was a meta for a little bit. Now, whether that be because Ana was in the comp and Ana needed some peel, or the fact that Brig also does well with Kree and Mei, I think it's very average. It's not like a turn-off, but it's like these characters are pretty much turn-offs for me with Brig. Besides that, I think it's decent. It's nothing crazy, but it's decent. I think Mercy is probably top D tier. You could get away with running a Mercy Brig. It's just not my favorite. I think Mercy Zen is just a better pick, or Mercy Lucio. Because the thing is, Mercy doesn't need any protection. It's just that it's not as bad as some of these other picks. I might actually put it below the Junk and the Hanzo, because it's probably a little bit more of a throw with Mercy than it is a Junk and a Hanzo. That being said, though, Moira is just... I would honestly put her below Mercy too. The thing is Brig Moira can work, but it's why would you run Brig Moira when you can run Brig Bap or Brig Ana? Moira already has sustainability, and she can survive on her own with Fade on a 6-second cooldown, mind you. She doesn't need the Brig. She's pretty much a self-sustained support heal bot anyways. So, I mean, that is the explanation as to why you would not want to run Moira. It can work, there is no synergy, and you're losing out on a lot of value by playing Moira there. And I've seen a lot of metal rank players have this idea, this notion of thinking that Moira is very good with Brig and it's the best combo. I would try to look for something that can get a little bit more value. And I'm going to leave it at that. If you have any questions, let me know. But let's keep moving here. Arisa. One of those characters, again, that really doesn't need it, but it doesn't completely kill. It's not like you're throwing by playing the Brig with an Arisa. So much so that I'm probably going to put it low C tier, not D tier. I might move it down. But I just think that Arisa doesn't need it because she already has gold. And, I mean, Bat Brig with Arisa is still good. It's just not, there's no real synergy there. And Brig doesn't really synergize with any tanks. It's more so just Brig synergizes with DPSs and supports. And at a very, very strong level. Pharah, another one of those characters. I'm going to put it, honestly, below Junk here. The thing is with Pharah and Brig is that running a Brig, sure you can pack the Pharah, but you're also not going to be able to run the Pharmacy, which is pretty much the only thing that makes Pharah viable over an Echo, is the Pharmacy. Even then, Echo is still, if the Echo player is good enough, the Pharah is not going to live. So what I'm saying here is that by running a Brig here, you're not going to be able to run the Mercy, and therefore the Pharmacy is not going to be good, therefore the Synergy is just not good. It's not good enough to warrant really anything. So with that out of the way, we got Reaper now. Reaper doesn't really need anything, but if he is going to be teleport flanking, I think it is nice to have. I think it's kind of in the same domain as Arisa here. It's just there are better characters to play Brig with. Like the Mccree, like all of these flankers that might honestly move up to S tier. But I digress. Let's keep moving forward here. I think Rein is kind of in the same domain as Diva here, where Rein can kind of not have to worry. The thing is with Rein is that you have to play much slower now, but the bash is nice if you are in a Rein 1v1 matchup. I think right now Lucio with Rein is better, but Brig Rein is not bad either. There are different ways to play that comp. I just don't think it's a huge synergy. I think it's just enough with like Rally and Pax on Tracer if you want to run that with a Brawl. I think that's nice. I don't think it's crazy good. Hog I'm going to put top D tier because you can bash hooks, but besides that, it's really not that great. Hog is a self-sustaining tank. A lot of these characters either want to just sit and they're fine on their own. That's pretty much it. They're fine with the character because the characters they are going to be played with are going to help them more so than a Brig will. So Sigma though, while it might seem like Sigma and Brig are not very good, I would be willing to argue that Sig is actually very good with Brig, not in the sense that it's like huge synergy, but Sig can play a lot more aggressively with a Brigitte because now he has even more stun potential, and it can, if he wants to off angle with Brigitte, he can't really be forced out. That is the whole idea with it. It's nothing crazy by any means to some other characters that we'll be getting to soon, but it's still very nice. Soldier, he might be my first S tier, but he also might be lower as well. We're gonna wait for Soldier because I'm not quite sure yet. Sombra. I think Lucio might be... Sombra, though, with Pax is very nice. Honestly, I'm just gonna put Sombra above the Genji here. And a lot of these characters are kind of gonna fit in that category. It's just that they're not like super hard synergies with Brig, but they work well with Brig because they can play very aggressively, and you can kind of just pack them when they're on their flanks. It's very nice. It's very convenient, and it's better than putting the orb on them, even though putting the orb on them works as well. We'll get into that later. That being said, Soldier I'm probably gonna put still. These characters all flank. Soldier's a little bit more self-sustaining, but I still think Soldier deserves an A tier because Soldier nowadays, the stun is very nice if the Soldier is playing in the backline for whatever reason, but Soldier typically wants to flank very hard with his mobility as well, and the pack can let him do that for much longer at farther ranges without having to actually commit the positional resource to that Soldier. Symmetra, another one of those characters that needs speed to do something. I don't think it's awful, but I think it's better than some. I put Sim here just because the stun can allow Sim to maybe live a little bit longer. I just don't think it's crazy. It's kind of what goes with all these other characters. It's nice. It's nothing crazy. Same thing goes with Torb. I think it's a little bit worse because Torb has more self-sustain. That being said, Brig Torb isn't unheard of. But now we're getting into the characters that are really, really good with a Brig. Tracer being the absolute best with Brig. Packing a Tracer while she's engaging is pretty much a full health bar for her. And the Inspire heals her pretty much... It heals her a lot for being where she really is. Health-wise, at 150 HP. Widowmaker going on next here. I'm gonna have to put her really low because, to be honest, you're not gonna want to play Brig right next to a Widow, and it's pretty much detrimental to the team. You should just run Zen, or you should just run Mercy, or Ana. Widow, sure you could peel for the Widow, but it's just like Widow should never have to play where the Brig can only go. Widow should be able to go wherever she wants, however fast she wants to go. That moves us on to our next tank, which we're going to go Winston here. Again, I'm going to put it lower. I might put it just in the middle because he's a tank. No, we'll put him at the end. Here's the thing with Winston. Sure, you know, I'll put him top B tier. These are all like good characters to run with. Brig, just not like, it's not like the synergy's crazy. The thing is with Winston is that he doesn't really have to worry about the backline when Brigitte exists. Therefore, he's very good. He also synergizes very well with the characters that Brigitte synergizes well with. Look at all these dive characters. These are literally all the dive characters that the game currently has to offer. Minus, like, Pharah. And, I mean, I guess you can maybe run Ashe with dive. It's more of a pseudo dive or a weird combo dive, if that is what you choose to do. Just keep in mind, though, that, like, Winston, it's not like super great, but it's like it's very good with what Brig is good at, and it allows Brig to do said thing. Next up we have Ball. Again, Brig Ball is very strong because now Ball can play aggressive. Ball doesn't have to worry about backline. Also, the packs with Ball are very nice with the way that he likes to engage, because he'll typically use that kind of stuff frequently. It's nothing crazy though. The thing is, it is pretty like I'm saying, it's nothing crazy, but the thing is that Brig allows Tracer to do whatever she wants, and Ball and Tracer are pretty much the best synergies between these two characters. Therefore, she's enabling that the synergy she provides is by enabling other synergies that are extremely strong too, which isn't exactly the synergy with that character. But when you have a character like Brig that isn't like super strong synergistically with a lot of different characters, this kind of goes into effect. Next up, we have Zarya. Zarya might be the tank that I put in A tier, just because if someone wants to run down on the Zarya, the Brig can stop that. I think I'm going to put her bottom A tier and Winston top B tier, just because though they're on the same boat. I think Zarya gets a little bit more benefits from the Brig Bash in the packs and Inspire. Besides that, though, I don't think it can warrant putting above any other flank DPS here, and that's a theme that we're going over here quite a lot. And last but certainly not least, we have Zenyatta. I'm gonna put it above the Ball. Do I put it above the Tracer? I think they're kind of tied. I'm gonna put the Zen in between the Tracer and the Ball. In Zen Brig dives, it can allow for Zenyatta to live and make the dive kill faster. It's the whole idea. It's literally the whole idea with Zen Lucio. The only risk was that you had to kill fast. Now you don't even necessarily have to, because Brig does such a great job at keeping Zenyatta alive. Now, when you look at this, you're kind of like, well, is Brig just good? And she's not in some situations? I am confident in saying that now Brig has found herself in a place where she's very good in some comps, decent in other comps, and just really bad in other comps. It's just how the character works now. She's very good with dive. Ana's also very good with dive. Zen also functions very well with dive. I think she's in a very balanced state, honestly, for Brigitte and how that kit works. It's the most balanced that she's going to get. But I think this is a pretty accurate tier list from my own experiences. If you guys have any other opinions, please let me know down in the comments below. But until next time, I've got to peace out and Paz out. I'll see you in the next one. Peace.